so they're moving back and forth like a sailboat. They're not even with a small wheel. They're sitting in some nice, comfortable chairs. On the armrest of each of those chairs is a joystick. It's a very small movement, changes the direction of the boat, and a touch of a button changes who's in direct control, since there's two of them. It's nice to have an extra set of eyes out there on the water, watching for any traffic. Indeed, we did have some traffic that just blazed past in the other direction. The only thing is that with jet skis, we typically don't stop because they love our wake. Otherwise, we'll come into a stop when we see recreational, commercial, neighborhood traffic there. And reading the horizon there, you might be looking and thinking, there's no one out there. Okay, so we're going to go through a stop. Yes, we are. We'll get a little bit closer to them. That's what our stops do. It allows us to maximize our distance while still minimizing our impact. But do prepare for a stop, because we'll be coming into one here in just a moment. So make sure you're holding on to the little one there. Great. Alright, so what do you think? Did you like it? Is it cool? Thumbs up? Alright. Well, that is going to be common for our stops, so now you know what to expect. And if you're curious as to why we stop so quickly, well, one, it's fun. Two, the technical reason, it arrests our wake. So I was just mentioning that maximizing our distance, minimizing our impact. Well, it arrests our wake right where we stop, so it sends it out to the side of the boat. And if we were to stop slowly, it displaces a lot of that water forward. So that way we can get a little bit farther down, stop quickly, move past, and up to high speed. So once we pass these couple of boats here, we'll pick up that speed again. We're going to be cruising around Moccasin Bend, which is off here to our right, so making a couple of consistent right-hand turns to make a big U-turn. Off in the distance there, straight ahead, that's Lookout Mountain. We'll see it much better on the way back into town. So since we have the return trip, return route is the same. We'll be facing this mountain going south for a much longer stretch later on. But once we pick up high speed here and start to get working towards our top number, 50 miles an hour plus, it's a good chance to compare our speed over to the interstate. So out the left-hand window there, traffic heading west, well, their speed limit's 55. They're probably traveling a little bit more like 60, 65, but we're still keeping pretty good track. And we do have a little bit tighter curve, a little bit tighter bend. That's acknowledgeable there, but we're still keeping pretty good track with them. Something else that's happening out to our left-hand windows, and you may have seen that out forward, these beautiful limestone cliffs. Now, I don't get a chance to see a lot of the limestone for the area. It's typically hidden underneath the forest at the base of the mountains here. But the reason why we have a cliff is that maybe it got started with a little bit of that erosion, that water forcefully being pushed against it. But that was enhanced with a little bit of dynamite back in the 1850s. So this was blasted out for a railroad bed. And so next to us here, we got the interstate, the railroad at the base of the cliff. There's a highway. We're coming to another stop here. You may see the boat. Oh, little kayak over here to the right. Small little one. But Highway 41 is on top of the cliff there. We got an old ancient footpath. So there's all this means of movement crunched into this tiny little width. And that ties into why Chattanooga is here, why it developed where it did. Of the other available spots along the Tennessee River, why here? Well, we find ourselves in a natural crossroads for the southeast. Now, indeed, looking at this old 1880s map, even from a distance, you can see that there's a big white band that stretches through the center of this map from north to south or south to north. But generally speaking, it bisects these two big valleys here. This is the Cumberland Plateau. That's mountains that change elevation about 1,000 feet from river to the top. If you had to cross these mountains going east and west, west and east, and you were on foot, maybe on horseback, you would want to find the lowest way through this mountain. And so indeed, that had been carved by the river billions of years before. So cutting through the Cumberland Plateau, along the river or on the river, was the main course. Even these long, gentle sloping valleys on the west side was perfect for that. That's even where we have I-24 goes across Monteagle Mountain towards Nashville. So this became a natural crossroads. There from the east, you could spur out to the valley and ridge section, but right on the banks of the Tennessee River, a trading post 200 years ago, Ross's Landing developed, and thereby the city of Chattanooga as time went by. So pretty cool if you think about it. A bicycle wheel, the hub of that wheel, all the spokes coming in and out. Indeed, that's what Chattanooga is like. Many cities like that if you look at a map, but this one, with a large obstruction next to it, that was very much continued on, even though you have mountains surrounding it on about 3 sides. So that's pretty impressive. Coming up ahead here, we'll have our last round of Moccasin Bend. Do keep a watch maybe on our right, along where this grass stretches out from the forest. Sometimes we see wild turkey, white-tailed deer out there. And it being kind of an overcast mid-afternoon there, might be a good time for them to start to be moving about. Do another stretch here for you. So up on your screen is an aerial picture of Moccasin Bend, which is what we have to our right-hand side. That's what we've slowly made our way around thus far. So this white congested area on the right, that's the city. We started out, came around the toe, along the arch, and just the heel as we start to make this last right-hand turn. So a big U-turn altogether. The shape of it looking very much like the profile of a foot. A moccasin clad foot with that long history, about 10 to 12,000 years. Most of it Native American tribes. Y'all checking out my summer home up there? Just kidding. Coming to another stop. Well, this is a neighborhood that we're moving through, so we'll slowly cruise past these docks to our left. But this adds on to what I was just speaking about, being a natural crossroads for the Southeast, why people were coming here. Well, in contrast, locating next to rivers and waterways nowadays, very much like the neighborhood over here to our left, it's a means of relaxation, of recreation, because we can, more of a choice aspect. But locating next to rivers and waterways in days gone by, generations past, that was a means of survival. It was being closer to your water source. It was being available to get food, so fish and mussels from the river here. Also, the lands around the river holding wildlife that can be used for food. Also, the lands themselves being a great resource with regards to the tribes that transitioned from nomadic, moving through a landscape, to those that were agriculture-based, where they set up roots and they used the rich soil for farming. So over here to our right on Moccasin Bend, that we've slowly made our way around, is where about 700 acres of Moccasin Bend has been protected. It's been set aside into the future as part of the Chickamauga and Chattanooga National Military Park. And what's great about that is it has protected a lot of layers. It has protected a timeline. So as I walk about with this little poster, looking at the artifacts that have been left behind and thinking about the bits of ceramic, the tools, the jewelry, all of that, that's very important to protect, but also the layers. So the oldest on the bottom, the archaic, working up to the woodland, up to the Mississippian, and the current, well, that's the same way it is in the layers of the dirt out there. And so needing to protect that, and that's why they have conserved it. They're hoping in about 5 years to have some trails out here on Moccasin Bend that you can get out and access this history. Interpretive signs that tell you more about it, about the process of protecting it, about the process of discovering, so archaeological research. As we come up ahead, on the right-hand side, they have just opened a trail last fall. It's about 3/4 of a mile long. It's really a nice trail with regards to it's nice and level, but you get a lot of information, a lot of history, and it gets you right out here to the water's edge. So it'll be on our right. There's kind of a big shot. Just so you know where that rain, the awesome, we had a big sheet that went across